Today we're going to finish up the Lego piece we started in the last video. Remember, we're using the metric system. This time it's not going to be a new part file. We're going to open an existing file. Okay. And you should have it saved as Mr.V Lego Part 1. You click it, get a preview here on the side, and that's what we want. Hit open. The last thing we did was this rectangular pattern, let's see, on the bottom. But we're still not done with the bottom yet, just yet. Okay, so rotate it around where you can see this. We're going to make another sketch in here. We're going to put, there's some more circles on the bottom, and you can, once you start doing this, you can come check the piece out. I'll have it set up on the table for you in the classroom. So right click, new sketch. That's our face we want. Use the pan tool to maneuver that where you can see. I'm going to lean it back just a little bit so I can see. I like being able to see these holes where they're at. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to put 8 smaller holes and we're going to extrude them into it instead of coming out like these have. Okay, so there's 8 smaller holes 4 times. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can make one circle and do a rectangular pattern. Getting the spacing right with that is pretty difficult. So we're going to do it a different way. I'm going to pivot this where I can see it a little bit better. And that's perfect. Okay. Now this color's glaring, pretty shiny. Okay, if you want to change it to a different color, that's okay. We need a circle. And this is going to be a really small circle. Let's see. I'm going to start right here. Okay, I put that as 4 millimeters. Obviously that's way too big. You can see it overlaps. So we're going to go back and add a dimension. And let's see. I don't like that. So go back there, let's undo that. We've got so many dimensions in here, that's, you can see sometimes it becomes a problem. So let's drag that one and make it 2 millimeters. Hit OK, right click OK. This is where using that trackball is really handy. Okay, to move your circles, you can't grab them on the outside edge or the circumference. You have to grab them at the center point. Okay, it's not letting me for some reason, but that's okay. Okay, so we're going to move this up a little bit. Let's add a dimension from here to here. That's one of the problems. We've got so much stuff going on. Okay, so we don't want to add a driven dimension. So, okay, we're going to do the circle again. I've paused it for a second and did some practicing and figured it out. Click a circle here. Drag it in there. Add a dimension to this circle. I want you to make it 2 millimeters. Okay. Now here's why you want to zoom in. We're going to dimension from the center of the circle to this line here, not up here. So you got to zoom in with your trackball and make sure you get it right. So turn your dimension tool on. It should still be on from adding it to the circle. Get this red one here, bring it over. We're going to make it 1.5 inches. Moves it in close. Okay. On the back of this Lego piece, there's 8 of these circles going down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do an extrusion there. So finish 2D sketch. Extrude this. We want it going into it, and we only want it going in 1 millimeter. Okay, it's a really small circle. Okay, and you can barely see it. Once you zoom in, you can see it's not very deep. Okay. So now we're going to make it going across. We're going to do that rectangular pattern. We want this shape, direction 1. We want going this way. And move this to the side. There's going to be 4 going left to right. Spacing, 7's too much. It's going to be 8. Direction 2 is going to be down this line. And you can see it goes up. Flip it. We want 8 of them. And we want them, I want this one about in the middle. So let's try 8 millimeters here as well. I'm going to zoom out so I can see. And honestly, that looks pretty good. Okay, that's about perfect. So hit OK there. Now you've got the bottom of that Lego piece done. And again, you can come up and compare it, and you'll see how close it is. Okay. There's one last thing we're going to do on the top here. Okay. The last thing we're going to do, we're going to put some text on here. Okay, Lego, if you look closely at the piece we're using, on the top of all the little connecting pins, it actually says Lego. Okay. So I'm just going to spin that back around, let you see what we've done so far. We're going to right click here, new sketch. Okay. And turn it around where you can see the pin. You're going to have to, let's see, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do, click in this upper corner of the bottom. Then I'm going to zoom in. Grab my pan tool. This is where Inventor gets kind of complicated, but that's okay. This is a pretty complex part we're doing. This isn't something simple like we've done earlier. We're going to do a text feature. Okay. We want that right here. And it brings it up. Okay. So I'm going to type Lego in all caps. That size is way too big. We know that. And let's make it 0.95 millimeters. Okay. And I'm not real happy with, we don't want it to do that. Okay, so let's undo that. Put another text bar in there. Size was pretty good. Okay, you saw the text it didn't go the right direction, so we're going to fix that. Click your home button, click front. Okay, you can't see your pins obviously, so you're going to have to drag and pivot a little bit. Okay, then come over here and get your pan tool, move it where you can see, turn that off. Let's zoom in, go back to our pan tool, and you can see we're getting, again, this is a pretty complex project. It's not something simple. Okay. So now we're going to try and put some text on one of these pins. Okay. So make your little text box on the circle. Let's type Lego. Let's change the size to 0.95 millimeters. It's still way too big. Okay. Okay, so you can double click that text and edit it. Okay, that size looks pretty good. Now we have to figure out why that's going that direction. And we're okay with that. For what we're doing, that's fine. That text is just a little too big. Again, highlight it. Let's try 0.90 millimeters. And that looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, now one tool I have found, well, that's kind of new. Let's see. Probably the easiest thing you're going to be able to do, because there is no way to choose this and emboss it into all, or to put the text into all of them. So double click it. 0.90 still too big. Let's try 0.80. See how that looks. That's perfect. Okay, so change this one. Highlight it. 0.80. Hit OK. And now we're going to copy that and paste it. And unfortunately, you are going to have to drag it to each one. Okay. So I'm going to pause it and do that to all of them, but just right click. We've already copied it once. Paste it. Find it down here. And drag it and move it on the pen. Okay. So I'm going to pause this and do all these. Okay. Now you can see that took a while. And I paused that while I did it, but I had to paste Lego 32 times and drag it and center it as best I can with this. Okay. So now we're done with that. So let's right click, finish 2D sketch. Okay. And you can see our Lego on there. You can see they're not perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to do an emboss. Okay. I'm going to move this. Click that. Let's see. If you hold shift down and click on each word, it's going to let you do multiple ones. Let's see if it does that. Let's make it go out. 0.5 millimeters. I'm going to change that same color to smooth yellow, okay, because we want it to look like the actual part. So whatever color you've chose when you do your emboss, find that same color. Let's see what happens here. Okay, and now you can see that the Lego is embossed. Okay. Now earlier we did an engrave on your keychain where it went into the part. Now it brought it out, and you can see the rest of my Legos aren't showing up, so I messed up. I'm gonna have to undo that. Do your emboss again, and you need to hold the shift button and click every single one of them. Okay, it turns blue once it's got it. It may take Inventor some time here. Give it time to load if you're doing multiple commands. But this is easier than going and clicking on each one like we had to do with writing the text. And there's probably an easier way to do that. I did a little bit of research and I couldn't find anything. So I'm clicking on each one. As I click, I'm holding down the shift button. Okay. Make sure you do that. You can see it turn red and then it turns blue. Okay, and I've chosen all of them. You can see it shows that it's going up. That's what we want. We want to do the emboss from face, not the engrave. I'm going to have to go change this color again. Smooth yellow, and I'm running out of time on this video, so let's see. Smooth yellow, hit OK, hit OK. And you can see it raised them up, and it looks like I forgot one. Okay, so make sure you get all of them, but you have a completed Lego piece. Okay, and it looks exactly like the piece that's going to be up at the table in the front of the room. Okay, so this is a pretty tough build. Take your time. If you have a point where you need some help, ask your neighbor. If they can't help you or they're not as far as you, raise your hand. I'll be glad to come over and help you. Okay, but we've made an 8x4 Lego piece. Until the next time, see you then.